Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Alex. I hope you guys are doing well. Today what I wanted to do is dive into some Ammon Hillman content. This video is actually, the first one I'm going to pull up is called Exposing Fake Greek Expert Ammon Hillman's Theories Debunked. It's done by Mythvision and a guy named Steven. Steven seems to know Greek really well, but there's some things I didn't watch this whole 5-hour thing. The duck quacks kind of made me tune out and just get out of it, but I just want to touch a couple things on this and go into some Bart Ehrman videos on Danny Jones' podcast. You know, they call people who I guess just like Ammon Hillman Ammonites. I don't consider myself an Ammonite. I consider myself someone who's truly interested in this stuff and wants to know what the truth is. And right here at the start, I'll play this clip.
And I'm getting, like, I'm making this, I made this 1-hour documentary on the history of Greek and Hebrew. I got plenty of people coming in from the Ammonites typing like, Hebrew's fake. You know, it's somebody needs to address this on a high level. And unfortunately, the people out there that are qualified to do it, and, you know, I got clips in here, and I'm picking on people. I'm picking on Kip Davis. I'm picking on Dan McClellan. I'm picking on Wes Huff because
it's good for this Steven guy to call that out, because they really should be the ones in the room with Ammon Hillman and Danny Jones. Go do it on Joe Rogan. Danny Jones was just on Joe Rogan talking about Ammon Hillman. And I think it's kind of interesting that Julian Dory is, Danny Jones said they're best friends. He had Wes Huff on, and he did not go. Wes Huff never goes on Danny Jones, but Ammon Hillman never goes on Julian Dory, and they never cross paths. So I don't know if Wes Huff doesn't want to talk to Danny Jones for the sole fact that he even entertains the ideas that Ammon has, but I thought that's kind of an interesting, point here where their paths aren't crossing. They're talking to each other through the internet, through other podcasts. I just wanted to go through the comments here quick, just not picking, just going through this 5-hour video, what people say. I didn't drink the Kool-Aid, I burned the purple. Thing is, Ammon gives free classical Greek classes so you can do your own research. Honestly, Ammon gives me the creeps. If my gut says he's weird and not to trust him, then I'm going to go ahead and go with my instincts. The question is, who has been exposed as a Greek expert? Too long. I'm only an hour and 14 minutes in, and so far Stephen Nelson has corrected several of Ammon's mistranslations of the New Testament. He's showing receipts to prove it. Stephen, I am an expert in modern Greek. Ammon, I am an expert in classical ancient Greek. Wes Huff should be the one to step into the arena with Dr. Ammon Hillman. Wes can't publicly call his name and work out and then refuse public conversation with him. First Dibble, now this, Mythvision turning into clickbait drama vision. That's not what I subscribe for. So Homer used more words than all of Hebrew. Maybe Dr. Kip Davis should study Greek from Dr. Hillman for 30 years and then criticize his scholarship. It's just go on and on. Let's see Bart Ehrman talk to Ammon. And we are going to go into some Bart Ehrman clips. But the comments are, I'd say 60 or 70% pro Ammon in all these. A lot of people were too stupid to know about these guys reading Greek on what's right and what's not. In this Mythvision podcast, they make a little quack or duck noise every time Ammon pronounces something wrong. And one of the words is leistes. Steven says it's pronounced a particular way, and he's just like, well, right here, you can't even say this word right, and they just go on and on about it. But I'm going to play this clip here of Bart Ehrman.
He's saying that he's the ruler of Israel. And so they don't like that. They crucify people like that. Okay. So it may be that they were also, they're called, the problem is, in the Gospels, they're called a word that's often translated robbers. The Greek word is
leistes.
Leistes. A leistes, though,
So he's saying it the way Ammon says it, but Stephen is now saying Bart Ehrman and Ammon are wrong. So when they do that quack noise, how do we know Stephen's even pronouncing these correctly? If I trust Bart Ehrman more than Stephen, so I can't go through everything that they said. Ammon says incorrectly, but this is a big topic of discussion in those Danny Jones podcasts, and Bart Ehrman is saying Ammon is correct here the way he pronounced it. Danny pronounces it. So there's just one of them. Now this next clip that these two talk about is how Ammon, it was just discredited, and no scholars, the peer review, they basically wrote it off. But I'll play it here and then I'll get into why that's not really important.
This whole legend that he's spinning up about persecution in academia and how his work is being suppressed, you'll see that the person reviewing his PhD dissertation just said we needed more evidence. Like, that's a theme here. He just doesn't give evidence. He makes claims that can't be backed up by evidence. I reached out to her to comment on this, and she declined. And she said that article didn't really represent her fairly, in her opinion, because as you can see in those excerpts, he's just claiming that everybody's using drugs, right? And he conflates the medicinal use of drugs for what he considers recreational. But if you go look in these sources, as you're going to continue to see here, they're all talking about medicinal drugs. It's medicine. Drugs are medicine.
So just to clarify, you're suggesting this already early into this critique is in his professional PhD in the actual academic arena, which is, by the way, Roman medicinal stuff, which wouldn't that mean it's Latin and not Greek in terms of its special?
You can go online and purchase his dissertation. It's because it's peer reviewed. There's like nothing to critique there for me, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't find, there's no Greek in it. Like, he's selling himself off as a classical philologist. His emphasis is on Latin sources and pharmacology. He said he spent 2 years on it. I'm sorry, that doesn't make you a classical philologist. That makes your emphasis is not on the Greek language. There are people who focus specifically on classical philology and linguistics and the study of Greek as a language. He's focusing on medicine and calling it drugs.
I also wanted to cue in on what we're going to get to later with this burning purple and stuff, kind of foreshadowing.
And there's bits and pieces through the parts that I watched, just saying it's no one found him credible. But I wanted to go through these 5 people who, let me say, all won Nobel Peace Prizes, that, their peers and, their papers, whatever. It was discredited and they said it wasn't true, but later was vindicated because it turned out to be pretty true and revolutionary. You have George A. Akerlof. He published a paper called The Market of Lemons. Akerlof's theory was initially met with skepticism and rejection by some journals, but it has since gained widespread recognition and is considered a foundational paper in modern economic theory. So Ammon Hillman, after I name all the rest of these, I'll go through them quick. Barbara McClintock, a groundbreaking geneticist, faced initial skepticism and resistance from the scientific community regarding her discovery of mobile genetic elements of jumping genes. All these people won a Nobel Peace Prize. Green-Schwarz mechanism. In 1984, Michael Green and John H. Schwarz realized that the anomaly in type 1 string theory with the gauge group cancels because of an extra classical contribution from a two-form field. They realized that one of the necessary conditions for a superstring theory to make sense is that the dimensions of the gauge group of type 1 string theory must be 496, and then demonstrated this to be so. physics, astrophysicists. It's so over my head, and I'm way too stupid to understand all this stuff. But I know string theory is a pretty big topic of discussion. I've learned that from Professor Dave, where he goes and debunks people. I mean, Nobel Peace Prize, these two guys. Dan Shetman's vindication refers to the 2011 Nobel Prize in Chemistry he receives for the discovery of quasi-crystals, materials previously thought impossible due to their non-repeating atomic patterns. Vindicated. Emmanuel Carpenter and Jennifer Doudna's vindication through the Nobel Prize. The 2020 Nobel Prize in Chemistry awarded to Emmanuel Carpenter and Jennifer for the development of CRISPR and Cas9 genome editing technology can be considered a significant vindication of their pivotal role in scientific breakthrough. You can go look up all these people and, it's real. I'm not making it up. But these are more than five. These are people who presented ideas that everyone cast off. Their peers and other scholars said it was bogus, but I guess a Nobel Peace Prize, and Ammon's in good company as of right now. I'm not saying Ammon's winning a Nobel Peace Prize or anything, but just because it's denied or it's not accepted doesn't mean just everything he says isn't true. It's a kind of a crazy thing just to use right at the start of their 5-hour podcast. So we'll jump to Bart Ehrman now. I have put some notes here so I can kind of go in order. I'm really scatterbrained. Where is it? Okay, right here. Bart Ehrman. I really like this guy. I think he's incredibly smart. I love listening to him. I was really excited for this podcast when I saw it came out. The comments are brutal towards Danny in this. They just tear him apart and, whatever. But this is one where I feel like Danny didn't deserve people ripping into him so much for sitting across from someone as intelligent as Bart. And, what is he supposed to do? Is he supposed to talk identical to Bart and be at his level when he has put not even close to as much time as Bart Ehrman has into his study? Comments were ruthless, but whatever. I wanted to play this clip, which I found pretty interesting.
We're making some progress here, folks.
Progress. All right, so it means
To be rubbed on, used as ointment or salve. Anointed, Messiah,
If you go
Euripides. Oh, wow, look at that. Euripides is right there.
So click on Euripides.
okay, Euripides.
Oh, there's Christos. Whether... no, that's the case. Phaedra. Yeah, there it is.
Phaedra?
Yeah, where it says whether it is the anointment or the drug drink.
Drug drink.
Drug drink.
Yeah, whether anointment or drug drink. In other words, the poisonous drink or the anointment.
So is it used as a drug term here?
No.
Can we give it credit for being here?
No, because it says the...
Or drug drink.
I'd have to read the context, but it looks like it's contrasting the thing that it'd be anointed on or the thing being drunk. Oh,
Okay.
unless the pharmacon... I don't know. I'd have to look at the whole context. Oh, that's why it said 516. This is the one place. It looks like it's saying this is the one place in the Phaedra that it's used and the one place in Euripides that it's used. Whoa, that would be interesting. I don't think that the word Christos actually probably...
Whoa, that would be interesting.
worth looking up. I mean, if I had, my resources here, I could look it up.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be surprised if the word Christos, like what became the name Christ, occurs before the Hebrew Bible, the Septuagint, before it gets translated into the...
You'd be surprised if that happened.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if anybody uses the actual word Christos before the Septuagint.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think Euripides was long before the Septuagint.
He was how much earlier than the Septuagint was he?
Well, he was 5th century BCE, And so he's he's about 3. Depends when if the Septuagint was done around the year 200 BCE or then be about 300 years at least before.
Okay, doesn't this say that he uses the word Christ?
No, it's using the word kreo, the verb.
The verb.
I think at least the passage we saw in the Phaedra, that's the verb. It's not the noun. Look, I'll just tell you the short of it is that I think if you get any dictionary.
Okay, so the reason I thought that was important is that one, Bart actually seemed genuinely surprised, and that was the only time through this podcast he really did seem surprised. Everything else he kind of just laughed off or said, okay. That was the one point where he did seem to be thrown off. So curious what you guys think. Leave a comment. I appreciate everyone who watches. Give a like and subscribe. The YouTube algorithm is brutal. It's very hard to get traction on stuff, or even just I have a couple accounts that I subscribe to my own channel, and I don't even get notified when I make a video. So talk about certain topics here and there, they'll put something on you, I think. But yeah, hope you guys have a good one.